Hey, what's up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to the very first episode of Harbdog TV. On this channel, I'll be going over a variety of topics, life, stuff on social media, sports, movies, of course, the dating scene. I know that's a big topic these days. But today, I want to go over a topic I've been thinking about, and that's Black unity. And when did it stop? When did it go wrong? So I want y'all to come with me on a short trip to the past. Maybe we could determine the time that it stopped, if that's cool with y'all. So let's talk about it. I know when I was growing up in the late 70s and 80s, things were different. And that's due to the stuff that went on in the 60s. So much went on in the 60s that changed and shaped our country that it was crazy. It was chaos. So the 70s and 80s really benefited from all the madness that went on in the 60s. So in my neighborhood, things were quiet. Everybody looked out for each other. Everybody was cool with each other. Everybody kicked it. As long as we were home by the street lights, it was all good, you know. And that was what it was back then. We didn't really have much to worry about. Wait, I take that back. You know what we had to worry about? We had to worry about the bike snatchers, the dudes that chased us on our bikes, trying to steal our bikes. That's what we had to worry about. Uh, so yeah, I can't really speak on how the unity was. I was young, so a lot of stuff was probably oblivious to me at that time. So I can't really speak on the unity. But as far as what I remember, it was cool. It was calm. We were being bussed out to the good school, which was cool. That was an amazing experience. So I didn't deal with any racism or anything at that time. It was cool. So when I originally think about this topic, I really thought that it started with the slaves. And to be a little more specific, I thought it started with the house slaves and the field slaves. But come to find out, the house slaves were predominantly female. So that couldn't have been the case. And they dealt with a lot of sexual abuse and whatever else foolishness they had to deal with. So I don't know. I would not say that it started with these two, the house slave and the field slave. I would find that hard to believe. But you got to think about it. This was the time during slavery, and all they had was each other. They didn't have nothing. So I would say the unity during this time was pretty strong. They had to band together to make it through these times. Could you have survived during these times? If you were to put yourself today in those times, would you be able to make it? I know I couldn't. That's crazy. A lot of us couldn't do it if we were to put ourselves in those times nowadays. That's insane what they went through. So the unity then that is undeniable. And slavery ended in the 1800s. I forgot the exact date, but that's when it ended. And when it ended, it brought this about. This is what came from slavery, after slavery, and this is Black Wall Street. Black Wall Street is a product of us getting it from the dirt to form a whole community of black successful businesses is crazy. So the unity is undeniable with this. You can't deny black unity with this going on. A successful block of businesses, black businesses, crazy, so successful that the government deemed it a problem. And we all know what they did. In 1921, they took out Black Wall Street. It's crazy just to think about that. You know what I'm saying? And this was over a century ago. A century. I don't know if y'all know. I'm sure some people know, but some people don't. A century is 100 years. That's a long time. A long time. It's crazy if you think about it. But they got together and put these businesses together and had a successful Black Wall Street. Unbelievable. The unity is undeniable with this. Nothing but unity. I wish we had this nowadays. We could do even more if we were unified today. You think Black Wall Street was good? Oh man, we would have multiple Black Wall Streets all over the country if we were to band together. But uh, okay, but moving on. That's a whole nother story. I don't want to make this video that long. We could go down a rabbit hole, but I'm gonna keep it short and sweet, So move moving on along, but like you can't deny the unity during this time. 1921 is when they took it out, if y'all want to know. 1921 was the time where the government deemed Black Wall Street something that they couldn't deal with and didn't want to deal with, and they took care of it. But so the time from Black Wall Street until the 50s, you got to think that the unity was kind of tight because we ain't really have nothing going on for ourselves since they took us out and didn't want to do anything since we saw what they'll do if we did do anything. So I want to say the unity was pretty good from that time to the 50s. And then in the 50s, we had the start of Martin Luther King. He started his movement in the 50s. Malcolm started his in the late 60s. No, I'm sorry, in the early 60s. And I know it was a little bit of hate with Martin and his peaceful movement, but not to the point where you would think that it's really, hate like that. It was just disagreement of him being peaceful versus Malcolm's aggressive approach. Malcolm started like in the early 60s and was assassinated in 65. So he had a short stint of it. So I don't know if that really contribute to the hatred within our culture because it was such a short stint with Malcolm. He didn't really get into it for that long. And of course, who assassinated him? We did. So I don't know. I'm leaning towards the 60s at this point, that it started. But I'll tell you what really got me thinking that, okay, yeah, it started in the 60s, and I'll tell you why. So, also in the 60s, you had these guys right here come together and form the Black Panther Party. And you know how these guys roll. They weren't no joke. They weren't no joke. So the Black Panther Party was going on in the 60s. In 65, I believe, they also formed this group in 65. Right here are the founding fathers of the Black Panther Party, the original six. They started the Black Panther Party. And what I didn't know is that another group started at the same time that were called the U.S. Association, another black movement, and they were the Black Panther Party's ops, which I had no idea. Maybe I forgot, but I don't recall being taught about the U.S. Association. It was always the Black Panther Party and Malcolm X and the Muslims. But the U.S. Association was the ops of the Black Panther Party, had deadly shootouts and everything with each other, straight beefing, like real beef, like it was deadly. And I had no idea about it. Just learned this. The U.S. Association. Am I the only one that didn't know about that? Do y'all know about the U.S. Association? Like that was a surprise to me. I was like, "Oh wow, okay, okay." Learn something new every day. The U.S. Association. So they were beefing throughout the 60s, and we all know the government wasn't having any of that. So they took care of both of these parties. They was like, "We ain't having that from neither one of y'all." So they took care of that real quick. So the 70s were the beginning of the calm because you got to remember in the 60s You had the assassination of JFK in 63. You had Malcolm assassination in 65, and you also had the Watts riots in 65. And then turn around and have the assassination of Martin in 68. Like, man, and then you had the destruction of the Black Panther Party and whatever other parties in the late 60s. Like it was a lot. So that's why I say the calm of the 70s and the 80s were due to everything that went down in the 60s, which was diabolical, like for real. So after that went down, you had this happen in the 80s. This this right here was a big one, y'all. And this one right here really changed our culture. This right here speaks for itself. If you know, you know. Gangs were only really on the West Coast in California. When this movie dropped, they were throughout the United States. This movie influenced so many people in our culture to be a Crip of Blood. Everybody wanted to be a Crip of Blood. Like this movie really changed our culture for the worse. Every city, you had Crips and Bloods now. Crazy. This movie has so much influence. If you know, you know. Like I said, great movie. Great movie. But it really did horrible things for our culture. Um, it didn't unite anything. It just started a whole war within our culture. And then, of course, other cultures joined, and now we at war with other cultures. It's just this movie here did so much damage. It's crazy. And we still deal with everything about gangs nowadays. Back then, of course, you had shootings, but you had fights back then. You got your butt whooped a few times, and it was beef like that. Nowadays, these youngsters, they don't waste no time to take a life. It's crazy. It's diabolical to think that you could take a life that easy over nothing, over stupid stuff. But that's what it is. That's what it is. This movie here, something else. 1988 is when this movie dropped and changed everything. But what made it even worse is this right here. This right here, it didn't do it any better. I'll tell you that much. These guys right here just threw gasoline on the fire. These guys right here introduced the world to gangster rap, and it was over from there. It was, talk about unity. Unity, what is that? These guys right here, oh my God, so much influence in our culture. I have an old picture of myself in the 90s, and anyone who's seen that picture asked, "Did you grow up on the West Coast?" You would have thought I was actually in the group by how I look in that picture, hair, everything. I was like, I look at that picture now and be like, wow, that much influence. These guys right here really turned the world upside down with their music. And you got to remember, before this, it was a hip hop, a hippie to the hip. It was Will Smith and Parents Just Don't Understand and stuff like that. As far as rap goes, that's what we switched with these guys. Crazy. Really turned our society upside down if you think about it. These guys right here, they did it. They did it. And it wasn't things that they said. It wasn't only things that they said. It was just how they looked. Of course, it was their raps, and they rapped about things that went on in the hoods that everybody experienced. So to experience somebody talking about what you're going through on the radio and stuff, it really had an impact on everybody. So that was kind of really the main reason why it influenced so many people, because so many people was going through that exact same thing that they were rapping about. But They did it. They did it. And to say that they didn't help our culture and unity, they didn't. But so many other things already had us cooked at that point, you know. And gangster rap then compared to now is crazy different. All they talk about now are the kind of guns they have, the ops, the drugs they do, how they always be high and all this. It's just crazy. Um, but that's the society we live in nowadays, and unfortunately, they are influencing their generation, and it's worse than what we had. You know, so the unity nowadays is really bad. And for an example, uh, I'm a huge boxing fan, and it's a huge. We have a huge presence on YouTube media, boxing media, and so many channels, so many good and formidable channels as well. Um, just to name some, we got 7-8 Sports TV, we got Blue Blood Sports TV, uh, we got Champ Side, we got the LDBC, the Lions Den Boxing Community. Just to be clear, we got Showbiz the Adult. We have Dante's Boxing Nation. It's so many, and a few of them get along. I mean, you know, for the most part, they'll shout out the other channel or something, but for the most part, they're all ops. You know, of course, as if it's not enough money to go around. But if they were to all come together and form one big boxing media channel, they would rule the boxing media networks. Boxing media is scarce and it's only on YouTube. And if they were to come together, it would be unstoppable. It would be an unstoppable force for boxing media. But we can't get along with each other. I mean, I just don't get it. I just don't get it. But that's just an example of uniting and making something good for our culture and working together. Every other culture, they come to this country and they band together and open businesses and support each other. Yes, they get grants from our government, but without the grants, they would still band together and look out for each other. We don't have that in our nature. And I want to say that it started in the 60s. With all that stuff that went on in the 60s, I want to say it started in the 60s. But if we are the most influential race in the world. uh we make a lot of stuff popular. We generate a lot of revenue for a lot of these companies. And if we actually knew our power and worked together, we could really make a difference, really make a big impact on a lot of things that goes on in this world. But we can't get out of our own way. It's unfortunate. We'll follow dancing trends and whatever else is on social media before we'll follow somebody good idea or support somebody to make us all shine. We won't do that. Somebody will be jealous. It'll go wrong somewhere, you know. Uh, I wish it would happen in my kids' lifetime where we would band together for ourselves. And the way times are nowadays is really bad. We got our president talking about nuclear war, coming off this Charlie Kirk stuff is really bad. We really need to unite now more than ever. So much is going on. Um, we really do. We really need to take a step back and really think about things that really matter. Um, but you know, I ain't gonna hold you. I'm glad y'all joined me. Um, until next time, everybody stay blessed. Peace.